Welcome to the Jeff
and the Bonch
Show.
Week 17.
This is a special edition show because
Yes, it is.
the fantasy season is over. Unless you're in some sort of bogus league, which plays. In which case, leave your league right now.
Yeah, you know, get in a real fantasy league that ends week 16.
So we've got a bunch of awards.
Bunch of awards.
Got some prizes for the award winners.
We'll talk about the actual week 17 games later. This is strictly about fantasy football.
Fantasy football. And I think if we disagree on the award, we're still going to give it, and they're going to share. That's what we're going to do.
Fair enough.
So, all right, we'll start out with the most basic award. I think that's...
Yeah, I would say so.
Most valuable fantasy football player.
It's pretty obvious to me. How do you not go with Adrian Peterson?
Adrian Peterson, hands down.
A guy that in our league was taken as the last pick of the first round, and everyone pretty much laughed at him.
You're crazy.
Like, he has a knee injury. He's probably not going to play till like October, November. Yeah. If he does play, he's not going to be effective. His knee's shot. I'm sorry, Adrian Peterson.
For fantasy purposes.
Clearly, he's not human, because not only to have a good season, have an Adrian Peterson season, have a possibly record-breaking season.
Yep.
Amazing. He's going to get 2,000 yards. Probably not going to get the rushing record because he's going to need a monster week 17.
But beyond that, fantasy player of the year.
Absolutely.
He could have won you countless weeks.
Yeah.
Not countless. You could count them. But many. And so for AP, we've got this Epcot ball from Disney World. And the reason we're getting him this is because, like, when you think of Epcot, you think of the Epcot ball. When you think of fantasy football this year, you think of Adrian Peterson, or the Vikings think of Adrian Peterson. So he gets the Epcot ball.
Wow.
Enjoy, and he opens so he could put things in it if you wanted.
What?
Jewels. I don't know. Let's do fantasy QB of the year. So we go down the list.
Okay. I found this to be interesting because
so did I.
It's pretty easy to just pick, the Drew Breeses and the Tom Brady's. They're gonna have, but for me, it's got to be Peyton Manning.
Okay.
Because Peyton Manning, everyone's kind of afraid to draft because he took a whole year off. He had neck surgery. Everyone's sure, is he going to be rusty? Is he going to be the same guy now he's not in Indianapolis anymore? And he was the same Peyton Manning who was a top 5 fantasy quarterback his whole career. And because of that, and because he was kind of drafted, I would say as a second or third tier quarterback, I think he deserves the top fantasy quarterback for me.
I'm going with Drew Brees.
Okay.
And the reason I actually considered not going with Drew Brees is because he had that 1 week right before the playoffs where he...
The 5 interception game against the Falcons.
And that could have cost you the playoffs.
Yeah.
But then when I looked at the season as a whole, he could have won you too many performances for me not to give it to him. But I can see the Peyton Manning argument.
Yeah,
I can totally see it. I don't mind them sharing it. But we have, because it's Drew Brees, leaves like in a breeze, fly around.
Here's the thing. Top running back was a listed award. And I know Adrian Peterson is the fantasy MVP,
I thought the same thing.
But I don't have him as top running back.
Well, I also
I think it's separate. I think someone else should be honored, and that's Arian Foster.
You want Arian Foster? I did it.
Because here's the guy that every week, a guy you drafted 1 or 2, and a guy that actually was drafted high and actually lived up to expectations. Because every week he's going to get you a touchdown.
But the last week, the championship,
he got hurt.
Still, you can't blame him for that. But it still happened.
He got a regular heartbeat. I'm not going to get Arian Foster for that.
I'm not as a person, or as it's his fault.
Yeah,
but
as a fantasy owner, it stinks. But
well, I'm not going Arian Foster.
Okay.
I'm going Marshawn Lynch.
Okay.
Second in rushing yards, 11 TDs. I think Arian Foster has maybe 12. So he's right there with him. And what I also liked about him is in the fantasy playoffs, the past 3 weeks, he had 100+ yards rushing in each game. 3 TDs the first, then a TD. He could have won you the fantasy playoffs. So that's why I went him. But I could see the Arian Foster argument.
Yeah.
Since I was going Marshawn Lynch. I know the guy likes Skittles.
He does like Skittles.
But if they want to win, you see what I'm holding. You love it. If they want to win in the playoffs, you're going to eat something a little healthier than Skittles because that team isn't great. He's going to need a banana. Fantasy wide receiver of the year.
Okay, now I know what everyone wants to say here. The guy that just broke the record, Calvin Johnson. He doesn't deserve. You know why? He had 5 touchdowns.
Pretty bad.
You need to score in fantasy to be a valuable receiver. And yeah, Calvin's always going to be up there, but for me, it's AJ Green.
Really, you want AJ Green?
12 touchdowns to Calvin Johnson's 5. I think he was 3rd in the league in receptions. Just a guy that seemed every week consistently got you points. He never was a letdown.
I think AJ Green's a good choice, but why not Brandon Marshall then?
That was I was getting
if
to.
You're going to that argument because he was second in receiving yards.
Exactly.
He was third in TDs.
100. I have his stats right here. 113
TDs.
catches over 1,400 yards, 11 touchdowns.
Yeah, so why would you pick AJ Green over him?
Because of those weeks where Jay Cutler wouldn't show up and Brandon Marshall would just be like.
But there was really only that one game where Jason Campbell started where he did really bad.
I don't know. I like AJ Green. I'm an AJ Green fan.
I think you just like him.
I do like AJ Green.
But yeah, Calvin only had 5 TDs. Hunter Johnson only had 4. That surprised me too. So those two guys.
Mm-hmm.
So for them, what we have is this statue. It's actually rather heavy.
Great.
My grandma got this for me for the holidays.
Spectacular.
I didn't make her a Christmas list, so this is what I got. Fantasy tight end of the year.
Yeah.
I wrote none.
Really?
I wrote none.
Well, here's the thing. The guys like Jimmy Graham and Rob Gronkowski, a little banged up, didn't live up to the first and second round draft stature that they had, which I never thought made sense to begin with. You never drafted tight end that high. So by default, I gave it to the most consistent tight end, the best tight end of all time, Tony Gonzalez, who is having another fantastic season. He's
having
ages.
a fantastic season, but compare tight ends this year to last year.
Yeah, but I'm not talking about. But it's not the comparison
all right,
here.
But
top tight end of this year is Tony Gonzalez.
Gonzalez has 8 receiving TDs. Last year, Gronkowski had 18 total touchdowns. I mean, that's insane.
That was a fluke.
That's insane.
Everything last year, the 3 5,000-yard passers,
but it's still,
because of the lockout,
it's
all
not
the
even
stats
like
got
he has
skewed.
13.
All the stats got skewed.
So what we have for tight ends, we'll give it to Tony Gonzalez because he wants it. Is this paperweight with Dolphins in it?
He's old enough; he'd appreciate that.
Yeah, he's old enough. He probably has lots of papers from all his contracts. Maybe all his money. If he just has all his money, he could put that on it. I was going to keep it for myself, but now we'll give it to Tony Gonzalez.
Okay.
You'll enjoy it.
Late round gem, so to speak.
Oh, that's what you want to go?
Yeah, let's go there.
Okay, you can go first.
Well, here's the thing. We have late round gem, then there's the free agent pickup. But
I
depending on the league,
so
I'm not sure which is which. I have one for each.
I included them both in the same category, actually, because, I agree with that.
I think the first guy's Alfred Morris.
Okay, I didn't go him.
Okay, that's fine. But how can you not go with a guy who was... had you heard of Alfred Morris before week 1 of the fantasy, or like week 4 of the preseason? When Mike Shanahan, with the Shanahanigans, said, Alfred Morris is the starting running back of the Washington Redskins. Typical guy you've never heard of, just like the old years of the Broncos, who just becomes... He was a solid number 2 fantasy running back.
Yeah, but he's a solid number 2 fantasy running back. That's the big... The key word is number 2.
Yes.
Number 2 fantasy running back.
So what?
I'm going later round, because Alfred Morris was probably still
drafted.
drafted.
But you didn't draft him as a number 2 fantasy running back. He was a if drafted, he was drafted in the last 5-6 rounds. Go ahead. Who do you say?
Well, I did the 2 sort of as a combo.
Okay, I have another one. I'm sure one of them is the same.
Maybe not. All right, I'm going James Jones / Randall Cobb.
Oh, see, I give it to Randall Cobb. Got James Jones.
Okay, and the reason I gave it to the 2 of them is that when we're going to Greg Jennings, Jordy Nelson, those were the 2 guys. Mm-hmm. And James Jones, all right, the guy is boomer bust.
That's why I don't like him.
He really is boomer bust. He leads the league in touchdowns, James Jones. And I think what James Jones is, even though he's boomer bust, as a late round draft pick, or probably even a free agent pickup in most leagues, in the flex position, you start a guy, you don't expect the flex position to get a lot. He could have won you weeks in the flex position. That's what I like about him. Whereas Randall Cobb, more consistent.
Yeah, that's why I like Cobb
more
better.
Consistent. He has 8 touchdowns, almost 1,000 receiving yards.
But he's a guy that can have a kick return for a touchdown.
Yeah,
he's attack from minute. He gets rushing yards. They give him handoffs. Randall Cobb. He's just so versatile how he gets you his points.
So I gave it to both of them.
I'm shocked you went James Jones.
Really?
How many times is James Jones on your bench score a billion points, and when you put him in the lineup, get 20 yards?
I mean,
as a James Jones owner, I'm shocked you're still talking about him.
I still just like him. I don't know. James Jones, 13 TDs. He has more TDs than everybody you can think of.
James Jones. I can't stand James Jones.
Well, who's your other person? Because they're
that was my 2 guy. Randall Cobb.
Oh, Randall Cobb. Okay,
Randall Cobb's my other guy.
Since it's late round gem, this is a real reach. It's a candle, but the things look like gems. And maybe
that one's a real reach because none of the other awards are reaches.
Yeah, but they could light it, and then it's like they're on fire.
Sure.
You know.
Don't ask me for comments on these awards because I have none.
I think you're just jealous because, I don't know, they could light it. Late Bloomer Award?
You go first because I have something to say.
Des Bryant.
Des Bryant.
All right. God, you're very excited about this one, aren't you?
Okay, I drafted Dez Bryant as my number 2 fantasy receiver. Was very excited. You know, year 3. He's finally getting his act together. He's a little maturing, maybe a little bit.
I don't know about that last one.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, you know, he was staying healthier, so to speak. Well, you know, he's still always banged up, but everyone was like, "Oh, this is gonna be a year for Dez Bryant." I totally agree. This is gonna be for Dez Bryant. Weeks 1 through 10, which was 9 games total.
Yeah.
45 catches, 590 yards, 3 touchdowns.
Wah, wah. You're less
2
than
of the
proud.
3 touchdowns were in 1 game. So basically, he scored in 2 out of 9 games.
Mhm.
He had 3 games where he had under 20 yards receiving. And his best game was 110 yards.
And he was getting in trouble. He can't go out late at
He's
night.
he's banged up as usual. Usually, no, he's questionable. So I decided I've had enough of Dez Bryant.
Yeah.
I mean, I had Andre Johnson, Torrey Smith, and you know, Dez Bryant just wasn't consistent enough anymore. It's time to get rid of him. I traded him after week 10.
Then what happened?
Then what happened is,
What happened?
from week 11 through week 16, which was 6 games, he has 821 yards and 9 touchdowns
Insane.
in 6 games. 3 games
Best
with
fantasy wide
100.
receiver.
3 games with 140 yards or more. He had a 224-yard game last week in championship week. Both the leagues I was in, the Dez Bryant owner won the league, not surprisingly. He had a touchdown in every of the 6 games. He had 2 touchdowns in 3 of the 6. I hate Dez Bryant forever.
So,
Where was that Dez Bryant that I drafted? God damn.
So how do you feel about Dez Bryant? He gets an award. It's on the nose, this one. It's a plant. Because it's got flowers and he bloomed late. And don't throw the plant, okay? Biggest bust.
Go ahead.
LaShawn McCoy.
Ding. Once again, I'm an owner.
Yeah. Drafted as a top 3 running back.
Yeah.
You could even, some people you could debate if he's 2, maybe even 1.
Yeah.
PPR leagues, he's 1.
The injury to Michael Vick took a lot of his value away because, first of all, Andy Reid refuses to run the ball.
Yeah.
When he did run the ball, he had one of the worst offensive lines in the league. And then he got hurt.
5 total.
I don't
TDs.
blame. I don't know if that's
No, I don't
McCoy's
blame him
fault.
because of the injury, but he's still.
It's not just the
biggest
injury. His
bust.
offensive line was terrible. His quarterback situation was in flux all year. His
No,
coach doesn't give him the ball enough.
No, I agree. It's not totally his fault.
Yeah.
He's still the biggest fantasy.
Yeah,
bust.
just, absolutely.
After having 20
Yeah.
TDs last year.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, this award is sort of on the nose, too. This is good. It's a hurt bear.
Well, there's the fall off a cliff award, who I think is
Fall off a
easy.
cliff award.
You're one of your. Oh, what a coincidence!
I know. I thought you were it on purpose.
I did wear it on purpose.
Sorry, I was
because
looking at the players and I just thought, yep, easy peasy.
a few weeks ago, Jeff was trumpeting his fantasy quarterback of Josh Freeman.
I was.
Who was, finally making the leap as a top fantasy
I thought he was.
quarterback.
He was gonna be
He was
top.
having a 300-yard game, 300-yard game. All of a sudden, the Bucks fall off a cliff just like Josh Freeman did.
Can I just give the last 4 games?
Sure.
5 TDs, 9 picks. The 7 games before that, 16 TDs, 3 picks. Talk about falling off a cliff.
I mean, Jeff was like, Bucks for the playoffs, Josh Freeman. I like Josh Freeman too, but what happened, buddy?
So I wanted to get him something that was once really good, or fairly good, and is now basically a piece of crap.
Mm-hmm.
So what I got him is this old speaker set. You like that, right?
I like that one.
Because it was once probably decent. Like, it's sort of big.
It was high. It was
It's
high tech at one
surround
point.
sound. It could be great, and now it stinks. It's
Outdated.
trash. It's outdated. It's never gonna be good.
Well, I don't know if never going to be good
I
again.
know,
I
that's
don't know if
harsh.
Josh Freeman's never.
That's
gonna be good
harsh.
again.
I know, but
I know you're upset with him.
very upset. Just put that there. It's heavier than it looks. Or I'm getting weak.
Is there anything else?
We could do this for IDP leagues, the best individual defensive player. I
mean-
want to do it.
All right, who do
I
you
want to give
want?
it to JJ Watt.
Okay, I think that's fair.
Just 20 and a half sacks, 65 solo tackles, 15 passes
From a
defended.
defensive lineman.
What we got for him is JJ Swat. It's a fly swatter. This is actually an electric
Didn't you
fly
give
swatter.
that already?
I might have. But I dare you to touch it. It actually really hurts.
I'm
I've
not
done it.
doing.
Do it.
No, you.
What if
can
I
do that.
swat you? You'd be really mad.
I'd be really upset.
I know you would.
You wouldn't have a show next week because it would just be
know.
the Bonch and Nobody show because Jeff is dead.
Warning, not a toy. Thank you for watching the Jeff
And the Bonch.
Fantasy Awards special. If you didn't get an award this year, guys, try harder next year.
Always next year.
There's always next year. Talking to you, Mark Sanchez. Goodbye, America!
Shalom.